No matter if points are gained or points are lost, there will be much to discuss. For analysis regarding tonight's Winnipeg Jets game, here are Dave Manouk, Ezra Ginsburg, and your host, Drew Mandel. The Illegal Curve Postgame Show, presented by Play Now, the official sports betting partner of the Winnipeg Jets, starts now.
Good evening, Winnipeg. Good evening, Manitoba. And for all those joining us live at Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue, they're a rowdy room if there ever was one, along with everybody joining us live on all of our social media channels. We welcome you to the Illegal Curve post-game show. Drew Mandel, Dave Manouk here at Boston Pizza, as he joining us live from the home studio on this Wednesday night. Wednesday night to start the 2024-25 season for the Winnipeg Jets. And let's be honest, guys, as soon as the three of us all said on Saturday's Illegal Curve Hockey Show that the Oilers were our likely choice to win the Stanley Cup, you knew that was absolutely going to be the kiss of death for them, as the Jets absolutely take the Oilers to the woodshed tonight. An unexpected just a stunning 6-0 complete domination by the Jets on the road in Edmonton. A great start to the 24-25 season for those who cheer for the team from Winnipeg. Ezzy, nice to see you distantly. I've been sitting next to Manouk for the last 3 hours or so. That's plenty of time, so I'm going to say hi to you right now.
Yeah, hi to you boys as well. Hi to everybody who's still at Boston Pizza Taylor. You mentioned it's Wednesday night. It's actually Thursday morning at this point, boys, right? But unfortunately, I couldn't make it there. I had to do the daddy duty at home here with the kids, but watched the game in my River Heights basement. And let me tell you, I was pleasantly surprised, as I think most Jets fans are tonight, as you mentioned, Drew. Stunning, really. I mean, and it wasn't just us boys that picked the Oilers to win the Cup. Did you see the Sportsnet predictions? I mean, it was like 90% Oilers to win the Cup, but obviously, I mean, the Jets were ready to go in this game, starting with that Mark Scheifele breakaway, even though he didn't score. But look, Lowry, Niederreiter, Appleton, I mean, they're obviously the story. Connor Hellebuck was really solid, and the Jets shut down the Oilers' big boys. Like, there was some speed and there were some chances, but for the most part, I mean, this game was over after, 30 or 35 minutes. So really impressive start to the season against, as you mentioned, Drew, the team that many people are predicting to win the Stanley Cup. So can't wait to get into it, because there were some pretty goals, a couple power play goals at the end, even though the game was already over at that point. But there's lots to like about tonight's season opener.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot to like. Dave Manouk sitting next to me here at Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue. This, of course, the Illegal Curve post-game show brought to you by our friends at Play Now. But a complete effort by the Winnipeg Jets. I mean, if you had said that, McDavid and Draisaitl, by and large, were relatively not noticeable in tonight's game, that's a testament to the performance of the Winnipeg Jets tonight, Dave.
I think we've been talking about it throughout the course of this hockey game with the folks here at Boston Pizza, and I think the consensus from us, Drew, and from everyone is just that the bottom six of the Winnipeg Jets was noticeable, and that's a very good thing. Sometimes you say, well, if it's not noticeable, that's a good thing, but look, Rasmus Kupari draws 2 penalties, scores a goal, which is not something he's known for.
No,
didn't do it at all last year, so that's his first as a member of the Winnipeg Jets. The Lowry, Appleton, Niederreiter line was excellent. Connor Hellebuck was great when he needed to be, especially in that second period, 38th shutout of his career. That game was a very good game, and it comes with the knowledge that the first line was noticeable but not spectacular. The second line was non-existent, and again, like I said, the third line was very good, and I thought the fourth line was very good. So from a Jets perspective, and the D was good as well. I got to give them credit, and I thought and it's one of the things that we talked about here when we were doing the show is just how well they played as a unit, as a 5-man unit. Didn't really create too many odd man rushes allow for odd man rushes for the Oilers. So they stuck to the system that they wanted to implement, and kudos to them, because it was a very impressive, very tidy 6-0 win for those Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah, you talk about playing the game that the Jets wanted to play, and I would say absolutely that whatever the game plan is, we're not privy to the actual written, whiteboard of the game plan before the game happens. But
Drew, the game plan was score more goals than the Oilers. That was the game plan.
That's usually what the game plan is. You're right about that. But to be able to neutralize the Oilers' speed and not let them get that revved up through the neutral zone where you're on your heels when they hit the blue line with that rapid pace, that's when you get into trouble. When you play run and gun with the Edmonton Oilers, when you have to try and outchance them, that's when you get into trouble. And you certainly did not see any of that from the Winnipeg Jets tonight. Very much at one point during the game, Dave, you leaned over to me and said, "Look at this. They're playing the 5-man unit that they needed to play." And that's absolutely, really, they were in sync and they were in tune with one another. The forwards supporting the defensemen supporting the forwards. This is how Scott Arniel wants this team to look this season, Eze.
Absolutely. And look, guys, it wasn't that long ago that the Jets defeated the Oilers in a 7-game series, right? Like, you just have to go back to 2021 and look who led the Jets in expected goals for tonight. It was the pairing of Josh Morrissey and Dylan DeMello. And you saw Connor McDavid take a run at Dylan DeMello, and you could even see the surprise. Exactly. And you could see the surprise in DeMello's eyes, because obviously McDavid's not known for throwing huge body checks. But I mean, I think Dave is, and you're absolutely right, Drew. I mean, like, look, the Oilers use their speed. Like, you saw that in the first period when you saw McDavid go 1v4, but it didn't result in a scoring chance. And it's not sexy to talk about defensive structure, but the Jets had their defensive structure tonight. And I thought, even though Fleury took a puck to the face that looked pretty scary there, and he was able to come back, but I thought Hayden Fleury and Colin Miller were really solid. Yeah, and we're obviously going to spend a lot of the time talking about the Lowry line, whether you call that the second or the third line, it doesn't even matter.
Calling it the first line now, Ezzy.
Yeah, exactly. You might as well. That's funny, Dave, because the way they played tonight, I mean, they really did look like a first line, right? So, and Dave's right. I mean, just going back to Rasmus Kupari, who obviously, like, they mentioned this on the broadcast, I don't know, at least 3 times that was Kupari's first goal in 70 games. Like, we thought maybe David Gustafson might be centering that fourth line tonight. And obviously Kupari and Gustafson, they're interchangeable, and we're going to see Gustafson at sooner rather than later in the lineup. But if you're going to get some offense out of Rasmus Kupari, who had 0 goals in 28 games last season, I mean, that's going to be huge, right? We know that guys like Alex Iafallo and Morgan Barron, they can contribute offensively, but I mean, this was just a game. This was the template that the Jets like to follow. You get goals from a variety of sources, and obviously, Dylan Samberg is another guy that you don't expect to provide a lot of offense. I thought Samberg was really solid at both ends of the ice.
In 30-plus games for Dylan Samberg tonight.
Right. So, I mean, really, it was a team effort. And Dave's right. I mean, you just saw the Jets completely collapse on the Edmonton Oilers. And I liked how they were closing the gaps and all of that stuff that coaches like to see from a defensive standpoint. And obviously, the Jets were badly outshot in the third period, but that's score effects, right? The game's over when it's 5-0. So, this game pretty much went as good as it could have gone for the Jets in their season opener. So again, it's only one game. We're not going to start planning the Stanley Cup parade route, but I mean, against the defending Stanley Cup finalists, I mean, to beat them 6-0, and let's make no mistake about it, boys. I mean, this was a butt whooping.
Yeah, it was absolutely a butt whooping. And you think about the game from the Jets' perspective, and here on the post-game show, we look at the entire performance. There's not really a lot that jumps out as something that you would say the Jets needed to improve upon. There's not, you'd really have to dig deep and really, be nitpicky to find an area that the Jets struggled in tonight's game. Sure, there were some situations where the breakouts weren't crisp, but that's just the nature of hockey. Not every breakout is going to be 100% effective. Not every breakout is going to look perfect, but anytime that there was an error, there was somebody there to alleviate the mistake, to prevent the mistake from being put into the back of the net, to rectify any problems before they became glaring errors. And of course, it's amazing. I don't think we've mentioned his name yet, and we're about 10 minutes or so into the post game show. when you got Connor Hellebuck there as the safety net. He didn't have to be great today. He made, a few solid saves, nothing that you would describe as out of this world, but he was big and he was soft. And that's when Connor Hellebuck is absolutely at his best, when he's filling that net and the rebounds, just drop in front of him. I'm thinking in the course of this entire game, I remember maybe one rebound that was sitting there, and that's when DeMello came in and swiped it away from before McDavid could get his stick on it. Other than that, it was into Hellebuck's chest and Dave, and right down into his glove and covered up, and the Jets did a really good job of keeping Edmonton outside of the dirty areas.
Yeah, big and boring. And look, the fact of the matter is that the players collapsed when they needed to. And so if there were opportunities, to your point, Drew, the team was there to support him. And I'm thinking specifically of the Josh Morrissey in the first period where the puck is loose and Morrissey blocks what would have been an easy probably tap in or an empty net goal. And then there was another play where Hayden Fleury, and the Jets are up 5-0 at this point. So really they're just trying to ensure that Connor Hellebuck can get his 38th shutout of his career. And they're still doing what they needed to do. So you liked, as the hard work from the defense, the fact that, like, we were talking about it, at one point, the Canucks scored and they distracted me. But, the truth is that that Dylan Sandberg was playing the same amount of on ice time at one point as Josh Morrissey. Yeah. And that was significant.
They finished 35 seconds apart. So Dylan Sandberg in his first game that's in that second pairing unit, he played 23:04. Morrissey played 23:39, and Dylan Sandberg certainly didn't look out of place, I would say. Him and Pionk, again, one game, so we're going to take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah,
but it certainly was a positive performance from Dylan Sandberg, especially going up against Draisaitl and McDavid and the superstars that the Oilers bring to the table.
Look, as much as we talk about the fact that we didn't notice the Jets stars, top six.
Except on the power play.
Right, sure. But that's a little bit different. We're talking about 5-on-5.
Yeah.
We didn't really notice McDavid. I didn't really notice Draisaitl. I didn't really notice Hyman or Nugent Hopkins. I'm not suggesting that there weren't flat opportunities for those guys, right? But I'm saying that throughout the course of that hockey game, I wasn't sitting there going, wow, McDavid did this. I just thought every time McDavid was there, the Jets, they defended him well. Draisaitl the same. And you can see, to the point that Ezzy made earlier, how it frustrated them, right? How he takes that, DeMello perfectly intercepts that pass. You can see the frustration on 97. So I'm just saying that, to me, not as much frustration as Spency has for not being able to get into the chat, but at the same time, that, it's one of those games that you look at and you say, look, if you neutralize both teams' top sixes, and you've got Connor Hellebuck versus Skinner, well, that was an uneven matchup. And the Jets bottom six well outplayed the Oilers bottom six.
No question about it.
So that is the difference in the hockey game.
Well, let me ask you this, Ezzy, before we get into the Betway game recap. I don't know if you have it open in front of you or not, but how many shots on goal do you think McDavid and Zach Hyman had combined?
It's got to be like 1 or 2.
0. Both of them, no shots on goal for Zach.
I thought McDavid had one in the second period when he had the nice rush. But wow, really surprising. And to Dave's point here, and it's the Play Now game recap, Drew. It's not the Betway game recap, so we can't say that this year.
That's why you need me. Oh my gosh, I apologize. Force of habit.
Okay, it's the first game of the season, guys. Yeah. We're working out some kinks here, but I mean, when you're talking about like Dave mentions even strength, right? And obviously the first 4 goals all came at even strength, but I think the key takeaway here is the Winnipeg Jets shut down 2 of the best players in the world, not just for 1 period or 2 periods. It was 3 periods. And I think that, look, I mean, Zach Hyman, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Victor Arvidsson had that great chance early in the second period. I mean, let's be honest here, guys. If Connor Hellebuck doesn't make that big save, and then it's actually a hockey game, it's 2-1 as opposed to the Jets scoring 2 goals in 20 seconds, and then it's 4-0 and the game is essentially over, right? But, you guys are absolutely right when you talk about just how smothering they were. And that's what I would take out of this game. It's that, yes, the Oilers were able to use their speed and everything like that, but Drew just mentioned Zach Hyman, 54 goals, Connor McDavid, obviously the greatest player on earth, doesn't get a single shot on net. And, that's just impressive. So you got to give the Jets full marks. And you're right, Drew. It wasn't a perfect game for the Jets. Obviously, there was some sloppy play, but as far as I'm concerned, the biggest takeaway in this game, and just want to mention one other thing before we go goal by goal here. I love the fact that the Jets, when they're up 4-0, they score quickly on that power play, and they really put the game away. And then obviously Stuart Skinner was pulled, and then Winnipeg's Calvin Pickard comes in, right? So it was a really impressive effort by the Jets, and I just liked how they kept the foot on the gas the whole game.
Yeah, it's exactly. Very good point there, Ezzy. It's right. The Jets didn't let up. They didn't let the Oilers back into the game with a late goal in the second period. Give them a little bit of hope at any point in time. The Jets were able to really prevent the Oilers from even sniffing or getting a glimpse of the word comeback in the course of tonight's contest. Let's get into the goal-by-goal recap. It's, of course, brought to you by our friends at Play Now. Play Now, the title sponsor of the Illegal Curve post-game show. Learn to bet with Play Now, the official betting partner of the Winnipeg Jets. Sign up and get up to $250 in bonus bets. Conditions apply. 18 plus. Enjoy responsibly. We mentioned that early in the game, the best chance came. Mark Scheifele had a breakaway early in the first period. Stuart Skinner was up to the task. It took until the 14:56 mark of the first period where Adam Lowry gets his first goal of the season, obviously the first Jets goal of the season, with an assist to Nino Niederreiter and Mason Appleton. I don't know that Lowry's been playing pool in the offseason, but he certainly executed the bank shot well. Knocking it in off of Stuart Skinner into the net to give the Jets the 1-0 lead late in the first period, Ezzy.
Did Ezzy freeze?
He muted his mic, I think.
Yeah, sorry about that, Drew. I was unable to unmute my mic there. Yeah, look, I mean, it's a great second effort by Lowry, and you love the spin around pass by Nino Niederreiter to get it on net. But, I mean, this is just power forward stuff from Lowry. Skinner makes the first save, and then he gets his own rebound here. So, and if I remember correctly, Morrissey made a nice little interception to keep the puck in on that play. I don't think he got an assist. No, because Appleton got the secondary assist on this goal. So, yeah, just, I mean, a classic, a kind of quintessential Lowry line goal. We saw this a lot, right? Working the puck down low. Niederreiter, as I mentioned, I think it was Travis Dermott, if I'm not mistaken, who was the defenseman covering Adam Lowry, or it was Ty Emberson. I thought Emberson struggled tonight. And that's one thing, sorry to go on a little bit of a tangent here. The Oilers lost a few solid defensemen. Let's not forget Cody Ceci. I mean, he's a guy that, he's not necessarily the biggest name, but Ceci was a guy that they lost in the offseason. And Ty Emberson is a guy that didn't have a lot of NHL experience. I think 20 games or something like that. Former third-round pick. I thought he really struggled, especially when they were up against the Lowry line. But, yeah, just a great second effort by Lowry and just an overall good shift from that line.
Yeah, that's where the Jets really won the game, is a lot of their depth lines. I mean, we got to stop calling the Lowry line a depth line, because
they're the first line.
They're the first line. They had almost as much ice time as the quote-unquote first line, and certainly far more than the third line, the Ehlers, Perfetti, Nemesnikov line, which struggled all game. The Lowry line is clearly the Jets' second option going over the boards. You should say that the Ehlers, Perfetti, and the Nemesnikov line is now the line that they expect the second most offense from, not the second most time on ice.
Well, is that true even after today, Drew?
Well, I don't know. That's a fair point. I think, yes, they still expect more offense from that line than they do the Lowry line. But that's where Calgary just beat Vancouver in overtime. Hell of a comeback for the Flames to come back all that way and win there after being down 4-0.
Joe's prediction when they were up 4-0 was that this game was over. But it appears to not be over.
Joe is eating his words right now. There you go. There's a lot.
Want to say, boys, just one thing before we get to the next Appleton second goal. Love the fact that spin around pass from Niederreiter comes to Lowry and he has to kick it to his stick. Like, for all you kids out there, I don't want to sound like grapes, but I mean, I just love that. Like, it shows you for a guy that, isn't considered one of the most skilled guys on the team. That's a skilled play to take a pass and then kick it to your stick and then obviously finish off the second chance. So Lowry was awesome tonight, and you saw people on Twitter, bringing up the Team Canada conversation. Elliot Friedman obviously mentioning that Lowry could be in the conversation for Team Canada at the Four Nations tournament, maybe the Olympics. Obviously, we don't want to get ahead of ourselves here, but I mean, look, Lowry brings it. And tonight, game 1 of the season, he was one of the Jets players. So you can say that, you can call him a depth player all you want, but Dave M is calling him a first liner.
Jets made it 2-0 at the 18:35 mark of the first period. Appleton getting his first of the season. Niederreiter getting his second assist already. And Neil Pionk with the secondary assist. And this is what you want. You have a clean zone exit from the Jets defensive zone. You have a clean zone entry into the Oilers offensive zone. And then you just have a great play from Niederreiter to hit Appleton with the pass, and Appleton makes no mistake. Not the best goal to give up if you're Stuart Skinner. I think you have to make this save, but the execution of the play to get into the position to make Skinner make the save, which he clearly didn't do, is a good one from the Jets' perspective, Dave.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, there's a number of things that went right. Neil Pionk has the vision to hit Nino Niederreiter, who gets the advantage of the Oilers making a poor line change decision. I think both Draisaitl and McDavid were going off. So Niederreiter grabs the puck, and then he does that play where he sees Appleton, feeds it over. You've got one defender left, and then Lowry creates an opportunity where he's coming in. So Skinner's got to be aware of, because it's essentially now a 2-on-1. And I mean, McDavid's close to Lowry, but doesn't quite get to him.
Yeah.
So he's creating an option for Appleton, and then Appleton has a good shot. Now, should Skinner have made that save? Well, that's another question. For the Oilers folks who are doing a show right now, not us here on this show, right, Ezzy? But it's a huge confidence thing for that line, and you could see it's taking the crowd out, and it's a big boost for the Winnipeg Jets to get that goal, and real nice work from Niederreiter to get that puck over to Appleton, and then again, like I said, nice shot from Appleton to get that goal.
Yeah, and you got to be good to be lucky. The Oilers hit a post late in that first period. If that shot is a little bit more on target, maybe it's a 2-1 game after 20 minutes instead of a 2-0 game. But the Jets will gladly play the first 20 minutes and leave it with a 2-0 lead heading into the second period. And then the second period sort of continues where the Jets left off after Hellebuck makes a nice save after Victor Arvidsson early in that period. The Jets make it 3-0 at the 4:17 mark. You mentioned him earlier, his first goal as a member of the Winnipeg Jets. His name is Rasmus Kupari. He is also our Seagram shot of the game.
The Seagram shot of the game.
Big thanks to our friends at Seagrams for their continued support of the Illegal Curve post-game show, as well as the Illegal Curve hockey show. Whatever you're in the mood for, make sure it's a Seagrams product, perhaps Seagrams 83, Manitoba's #1 whiskey. And
so I guess you guys had a vote at Boston Pizza Taylor. Sandberg doesn't get shot of the game?
Kupari hasn't scored for the Jets before. There you go. So Spency's here wearing the Seagrams 83 T-shirt. You know the rule on this show, Ezzy. You've been involved in these discussions. The first time you score as a member of the Winnipeg Jets, you get the Seagrams shot of the game. It's that simple. So that's why Kupari gets it. Apologies to Dylan Sandberg. He's going to have to score again on Friday.
I'm just looking out for my boy Sandberg. That was a nice goal too.
And then maybe if he scores on Friday, he'll get to be the Seagrams shot of the game on Friday. But Kupari gets his first as a member of the Jets. Assist to Josh Morrissey and Morgan Barron. And this is just a great forechecking shift by the fourth line. They just grind the Oilers line here, and then Morrissey gets the puck on the sidewall, and he hits Kupari tape to tape, and Kupari with a nice redirection to put it past Skinner. It's just a hard-working goal, and everybody in the right position at the right time to inevitably give the Jets a 3-0 lead.
I don't want to pick on these guys again, but again, Ty Emberson's out there with Darnell Nurse, right? Like, I just thought that D pairing for the Oilers got exposed, and you're absolutely right. Kupari has the puck at the half boards. He dumps it in, comes all the way back to Morrissey, and then he goes to the net. And it's just there just wasn't enough of a body on Rasmus Kupari, but just a beautiful pass by Morrissey. And we've seen him thread the needle so many times over the years, but let's not break this goal down too much and just really be happy for Kupari, who, let's be honest, guys, didn't have a very good year. In fact, I would say he had a pretty weak year in terms of being a healthy scratch, the injury, everything like that. He was kind of the forgotten guy in the Pierre-Luc Dubois trade. Let's be honest here.
Yeah.
And Dave mentioned this last Saturday's show, that obviously the Jets are giving Kupari a lot of opportunity here to center that fourth line, when some people, myself included, thought that David Gustafsson might get that job. Now,
I thought it was going to be Gustafsson's job too, and I want Dave in on this one. Gustafsson, when he played towards the end of the last year, I thought acquitted himself very well. I thought that was his best showing in a stint as a member of the Winnipeg Jets. So I was a little surprised that Kupari seemed to be the proverbial favorite in the clubhouse, as the preseason, as training camp unfolded, Dave. But certainly, if he's going to play with that kind of speed and that kind of tenaciousness, in addition to, of course, getting on the score sheet, then that's certainly bodes well for the Winnipeg Jets, and it bodes well for Rasmus Kupari's future as a key member of this team.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about that. And one of the things we thought was going to happen was that they would give him that chance, and this would be his opportunity to be, the fourth line center. And Drew, 2 power plays that he drew, or 2 penalties, I should say, that he drew that created power plays for the Jets, but also for the fact that, again, he was noticeable and in a good way. And even before they scored on this shift, we were watching it and saying, this has been a really good shift from this fourth line, because they're spending time in the Oilers, offensive zone or defensive zone, sorry. And for a fourth line to be doing that, especially given the fact that we didn't really see that from the Jets second line, it was impressive. And so this is even before they
it was McDavid's line that was out there, Dave.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So it's significant that they are holding the Oilers, the fourth line of the Jets, holding the puck in and doing that. And this is, again, absent prior to scoring that goal. So then they score the goal, and you're like, well, wait a second. Now you're contributing on the score sheet and you're doing all the right things. Well, that's a way to earn your coach's trust and get yourself more ice time. So it's a real significant play for Rasmus Kupari. He's got to be feeling good, because for him, the opportunity word gets thrown around, and I use it a lot when I'm talking about the Moose and young guys. But Rasmus Kupari, relatively speaking, is a younger guy in this league. Here's his opportunity, and you do things like this, and that's going to continue to earn a coach's trust and get you more minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Jets have a 3-0 lead at the 4:17 mark now of the second period, and in a blink of an eye, Dennis Bayak, bang, bang, 20 seconds later. Dylan Samberg, as you mentioned it in criticizing my choice of the Seagram shot of the game, but I'll forgive you for that, Ezzy. Dylan Samberg gets his first of the season, going top shelf on Stuart Skinner. Great pass from Mason Appleton onto the stick of Samberg, and a great breakout led and started by Adam Lowry to give the Jets a 4-0 lead. Just an incredible start to the second period, picking up right where they left off in the third period. If you really look at it in terms of game time, the Jets with 4 goals in about 10 minutes of game time from the end of the first period through the start of the second period. Exactly what the Jets would have wanted. Samberg, his first at the 4:37 mark, Ezzy.
Kupari makes it 3-0, and you're thinking, okay, this is a big lead here. This is a nice lead. So you're thinking, okay, what are the Oilers going to do here? They didn't even have time to do anything, because the Jets come right back, and it's obviously a beautiful pass by Appleton. But I mean, to me, this is just the Oilers again backing up a little bit too much, just looking slow. And obviously, it's an even strength situation. The Oilers have numbers back. It's just a beautiful shot. I mean, I don't know what else to say here. It's a beautiful shot, blocker side on Stuart Skinner. I thought he was going to be pulled after this point. I'm not sure about you guys. Obviously, he gets pulled after the Kyle Connor 5-0 goal. He stayed in for a little bit, but you guys know what I mean.
I think they waited for they were speculating. I saw that they were waiting for the TV timeout so as to sort of reduce the embarrassment of him getting pulled rather than it happening sort of in the middle of the action. They went for a TV timeout, then they made the swap. So it's a little bit maybe less obvious that it's happening.
Yeah, fair enough, Drew. But it's 4 goals on 10 shots.
Yeah,
and I don't know. Like, look, the Lowry goal, Skinner makes the first save. Lowry gets it in. Like, I don't know, the Mason Appleton goal, to me, that's just bad defensive coverage. We talked about that goal. It was a nice outlet pass by Pionk. And then Niederreiter makes the nice pass to Appleton. So I don't know if you're faulting him on the second goal. The third goal, is that Skinner's fault? I mean, again, Darnell Nurse, I don't know who you're blaming there. I think it was Ryan Nugent-Hopkins who was checking Rasmus Kupari coming to the net. The reality is they just didn't do a very good job of taking Kupari. So I don't know if you're blaming him on that. Like, all I'm saying is I don't know how many of the first 4 goals were Skinner's fault, to be honest with you. Maybe one of them.
I think what they needed more than that they're necessarily his fault is that they needed a save, and they never got a save.
Especially
from
on
him.
Probably on that Appleton one specifically.
Yeah, that Appleton one, that's not that can't go in that situation. I would agree with you there. Here's what I
thought Appleton's goal, though. I mean, it's above his pad, under it was glove side. Like, I thought Appleton's shot was nice, and he's all alone. He's got time and space, so fair enough. I mean, he has to make a big save, but I mean, don't you have to give Appleton a little bit of credit for that shot too?
Yes, you do. I'm not saying that it was that it was a muffin or something that Skinner had to save. I just thought that the Oilers needed a save, and he wasn't able to give them one in the course of tonight's game. Here's what Stuart Skinner said post game. Quote, this is courtesy of Jason Gregor, good friend of ours. This is off his Twitter feed. Quote, I'm not happy. I didn't read the play well. I think it was a bit too quick for me in how I played. I was too aggressive, and I will watch the video and work on some things. That's what Stuart Skinner had to say post-game regarding his performance tonight. The Jets are happy that he had a poor performance. The Jets are happy with their performance, as at this point in time, it's a 4-0 lead.
Sorry, Drew. What I was trying to say is the Jets were playing that well. I guess that's what I'm trying to say here. Like, this wasn't a situation where, to me at least, you guys can disagree, but this wasn't Stuart Skinner letting the Oilers down or Stuart Skinner having a bad night. This was the Jets playing well. Yes, he could have come up with a few saves there. 4 goals on 10 shots, like we just mentioned. I mean, that's not good. That can't happen. All I'm saying is on those 4 goals, I mean, the Jets, there was a lot of good stuff that the Jets did leading up to those goals.
Absolutely. By far and away, the Jets were the better of the two teams tonight. They're not taking one iota away from how the Jets played. This was an incredibly impressive performance against the defending Western Conference champions, against the team that most pundits, by and large, by an overwhelming majority, think are going to win the Stanley Cup this year. The Jets deserve full marks for their victory tonight. In really just sort of embarrassing the Oilers. You can use that word, but embarrassing the Oilers on their home ice in the season opener, a game where that you thought that the Oilers would be far more energetic for, and the Jets certainly just didn't give them any time or space to let them get their mojo on in tonight's game. 4-0 at this point. The Jets make it 5-0 at the 9:33 mark of the second period. It's the first power play goal of the season on the first power play of the season. We talked about it all training camp, Dave, about how important the special teams were going to be for the Winnipeg Jets, how an improved power play was going to be one of those key deciding factors if this Jets team is going to reach similar heights to what they achieved last year. Kyle Connor, his first of the season, Josh Morrissey the assist, Mark Scheifele the second assist, and now Kyle Connor stands alone as the only player in NHL history to score a goal in 7 consecutive season openers. And this one, traffic in front of Stuart Skinner on the power play, and he goes far corner, and the puck is past Skinner before he can even react to it.
Poor Mud Brunto. 1940 to 1945. 6 straight season openers, but he is now stuck in second with Cam Atkinson and Yvon Cournier. So,
how do you get the nickname Mud, by the way?
Well, we talked about that already, and we're not quite certain.
But
who talked about it?
Well, his name.
Well, we
were
talked
talking
about it here. If you weren't here, it doesn't mean we didn't talk about it. It just means you weren't here to hear it.
Well, how am I supposed to know you talked about it?
I just said it.
Dave's like, we talked about it.
Yes, we did. I didn't say when we talked about it. Not on the show, obviously.
Well, we is not me then.
That's true.
The royal we.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, the point, the key on this, and look, the game is over at this point. 5-0. Jets are taking this one home. It's just a question, really, of whether they're going to get the shutout or not. But the key was the movement, right? And that's what we've been talking about as the whole, training camp was just how crisp and how fast this power play, especially the power play one, has been playing. So for guys like, I mean, there's so many weapons, and you've got Velarde beside the net, you've got Ehlers in front of the net. Kyle Connor's shot is absolutely phenomenal. And again, like I said, nobody is sitting there. Like last year, they were too slow, they were too measured, and now it's a hot potato in a good way, right, Drew? You have that stick on your puck, you make the puck on your stick. Sorry, you make a decision about it, you either shoot or you make that pass, but you're not sitting there. You're not as methodical.
Yeah,
and
you're not a puck stopper,
right? And it's creating an opportunity for your team. So, like I said, Morrissey on and off his stick. Kyle Connor has options. He can shoot it or he can pass it. And he, of course, as we know, is a lethal shooter. And he makes no mistake putting that one far corner and making it a 5-0 game. And as you guys just touched on, scoring that historic goal that puts him alone in history. It's pretty remarkable if you think about it, that Kyle Connor stands alone, as the number one, or with that record, because not a surprise given how many goals he scored for this organization, but still pretty impressive.
To score one in 7 consecutive season openers. By the way, I think Ezzy's new nickname is going to be Compost. We have Mud, so Ezzy should be Compost.
Compost Ginsburg.
Compost Ginsburg. You can chime in anytime.
I have not composted once in my life, but sure, I'll take it.
We have a compost bin at home. It just sort of sits there more than anything. I'm not sure what it's accomplished, but we have a compost.
But Drew, you're not supposed to snack on those banana peels
after they're in the compost. I know, but they got all the flavor in them at that point in time. That's first of all, whoever changed his name on the screen to Compost Ginsburg.
Hey.
That was pretty funny, Dave.
Thank you.
But 5-0 at this point, and that's how the second period ends for the Winnipeg Jets, and it's just complete and total domination in Edmonton through 40 minutes.
Yeah, and could we just go back to that goal for a second? Because I agree with what Dave said there. I mean, look, we all know what good power plays are supposed to do, right? Like the puck movement, the pace, everything like that, options. But you had Gabe Velarde at the side of the net, and I think that's what stood out to me. Two things that stood out to me. Obviously, I mean, the Jets have a lot of skilled players out there. We've talked about it's kind of confounding that the Jets had the 22nd ranked power play last year, right? But I love how Connor uses Brett Kulak as a screen here, right? Because you watch, and I noticed that even live, sometimes you don't see it until the replay, but you could tell that Stuart Skinner didn't really get a good read on it, right? And I mean, again, I'm not going to fault Stewart's. Like, how many goalies are stopping that shot of Kyle Connors? Not many, right? But I just love how he used Kulak as a screen. I love how he kind of used Velarde at the side of the net to kind of almost, use him as a decoy, if you will, right? But I think it goes without saying. We'll get into the 6th goal here, but I mean, it's a good sign when, even though the power play wasn't the difference in this game, you still got 2 power play goals when you already had the game locked up. So I think that's just a good thing because, as you mentioned, we've been talking about this for weeks in the preseason and training camp. And, Dave M has been there a lot watching that power play. It's one thing, Dave, to score pretty goals in practice. It's another thing to do them against the Edmonton Oilers and their 94% penalty kill in the playoffs last year.
Well, that's also it. You're right that the Oilers, everyone talks about the Oilers power play. And how lethal it was. And I mean, the Jets did a good job neutralizing it, only taking the one penalty this game, the Kyle Connor slashing penalty late in the second period. So they stay out of the penalty box.
He lost his Lady Bing opportunity.
That's true. He did lose his Lady Bing on the, he set an NHL record and lost his Lady Bing chance in the same game. Very
pretty good slash on Draisaitl. I got to be honest.
I like that. Show a little bit of an edge there. Draisaitl's a guy who is certainly a big boy and not afraid to lay a little wood every now and then. So it's good to see Connor is willing to give it back just the same. But for speaking of the Oilers penalty kill, and Mark Stewart, of course, former member of the Winnipeg Jets, responsible for that penalty kill, and Mike McIntyre wrote about that today in the Winnipeg Free Press, an article you can read on illegalcurve.com.
Not yet. Tomorrow you will.
Okay, well, tomorrow morning you'll be able to read it on illegalcurve.com. But my point is that the Jets, you stay out of the box against the Oilers' lethal power play, and you execute against the Oilers' very good penalty kill. So those are 2 very good things for the Winnipeg Jets to have done against the Edmonton Oilers, and they get that second power play goal late in the third period as Mark Scheifele, he gets on the board his first assist to Ehlers and Gabe Velarde it's just it's too easy really for the power play on this one. The Oilers had clearly were ready to go home. They weren't putting up much of a fight or doing much to prevent the Jets on this power play, but it's just a clean zone entry. And then Ehlers with the great pass and Scheifele with that high slot redirection beating Calvin Pickard and makes it 6-0 for the Winnipeg Jets.
Well, obviously, you just mentioned the high slot redirection. I mean, it's just Mark Scheifele showing off his beautiful hands once again, but the controlled zone entry is something that was an issue for the Jets last year. And that's the thing too. Like, you don't have to be a hockey nerd to appreciate this, right? Like the Jets power play, it's not just, it's not just Nikolai Ehlers in the bumper slot. It's not just, where Gabe Vilardi is on the ice. It's everything. It's how you get in the zone. It's how you execute. And again, here, guys, I think it's that shot first mentality, right? And I've talked about this a lot. It's scoring earlier in the power play, not as early as the first power play goal, but it's, 35, 40 seconds in here. And, I love that, Ehlers identifies Scheifele's going to the net. And so instead of maybe, going back to Morrissey at the point, he hits Scheifele, who's breaking, and it's just a nice tip. And again, you love to see here, guys, that, the Oilers could have easily got a goal, a couple goals, garbage time here, and made this a little bit interesting in the third period. But the Jets get a third period power play opportunity, and they take advantage of it. So the Jets weren't messing around here. And again, it's only one game. And, we're not going to get too excited about 2 games or 3 games or 5 games or even 10 games. But, you're coming into a hostile Edmonton environment and all the player introductions and everything like that. The Oilers raising the Western Conference Championship banner. And the Jets went in there and, they stole the Oilers' lunch tonight. And it was really impressive. So I love the fact that the Jets, I mentioned this earlier, but I just love the Jets kept coming at the Oilers. And even though that power play goal was essentially meaningless because the game was already locked up, the Jets don't view it like that. They're going to try to score as many goals as they can.
It just keep the confidence rolling is all that does, especially after that second power play really didn't do much. And that's the Oilers had the best chance shorthanded on that Jets second power play when I think Draisaitl took down Kupari in the offensive zone. And then the third power play, much more effective. The Scheifele goal from the Ehlers pass. 6-0 is the final in tonight's contest in Edmonton. The Jets victorious. A quick note from our good friend Joe Pascucci. Tonight's 6-0 win by the Jets over the Oilers was the first time in Winnipeg Jets WHA 1.0 or 2.0 history that the Jets opened the season with a shutout. So a historic night all around for the Winnipeg Jets. We're live at Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue, the Illegal Curve watch party. Spency's bringing the energy.
There's others.
There's others here too, but everyone's bringing the energy. Great party here tonight at Boston Pizza, Taylor Avenue. Drew Mandel, Dave Minuk, Ezra Ginsburg. It's the Illegal Curve post-game show, courtesy of our friends at Play Now. When we come back, some comments from the Winnipeg Jets dressing room, and we'll wrap up regular season post-game show 1 of 82. Stay tuned. Stay with us. Much more to come. Now it's a Thursday morning. The Illegal Curve post-game show rolls on.
We want to thank you for not betting with Play Now and choosing our illegal gambling site instead.
Because we couldn't afford things like this without your money.
So much of your money.
Now you might have questions like,
do our profits benefit your community?
No.
Or bet with Play Now, Manitoba's local legal and secure gambling site.
Dining, entertainment, parking, and convenience, all in one spot. City Place is located in the heart of downtown Winnipeg, attached to the Canada Life Centre. Whether you're working, living, or out for a night in the downtown, make City Place your go-to destination before or after the fun finds you. Lunchtime, game time, anytime, visit City Place at 333 St. Mary Avenue, next to Canada Life Centre. Holt Dental, the new official dentist of Illegal Curve, has a philosophy rooted in 2 unyielding principles: genuinely caring about patients and providing outstanding service. Being a patient of Holt Dental means more than just checkups and treatments. It's taking the time to listen and talk to each patient so they can achieve the best long-term health, functionality, and aesthetics for their teeth, mouth, and gums. Conveniently located at Grant Park Festival on Taylor Avenue, Holt Dental is dentistry of the highest quality in a comfortable and relaxed environment. For more information, visit holtdental.ca. Oh, and there's plenty of free parking at the front door, too. Celebrating its 40th year as Winnipeg's home for stand-up comedy, Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club has recently been named Canada's top comedy club and a top 5 comedy club in North America. From birthday parties to date nights to fundraisers and everything in between, Rumors is your destination for the best and most affordable live entertainment Winnipeg has to offer. For more information on upcoming shows, Rumors' incredible promotions, and to purchase tickets, visit rumorscomedyclub.com.
So you're a pizza person, you married a wing person, but somehow your kids are salad people. You can't pick your fam, but you can pick your BP meal deal, starting from $18.99 for takeout or delivery at bostonpizza.com.
12:30 Thursday morning. Welcome back to the Illegal Curve post-game show. Drew Mindell, Dave Manouk. We're live at Boston Pizza on Taylor Avenue, our home away from home for Winnipeg Jets watch parties, Illegal Curve watch parties, and live on location post-game shows. Another one coming up next month. We'll give you more information about that a little bit later on.
I really liked all the analysis they did of the game during the intermissions.
Well, it was the typical Sportsnet panel where they talk about anything other than the game that's being showed in front of you.
It's like, which Canadian team is going to win the Stanley Cup after game 1? How about none of them right now?
That wasn't even game 1. After game 1/3 of 1.
I was like, oh, that's really an interesting conversation we can have. Which team is going to win the Stanley Cup based on 30 minutes of hockey?
Well, that's why
let's pick the Oilers to win the Stanley Cup while the Jets are trouncing them.
Yeah. Well, that's why we bring the analysis, they bring the nonsense.
Also, guys, sorry you couldn't see this in the during the commercial break, but so I have my headphones on, obviously, as I always do, and I hear like a little kind of knock at the door behind me here. Ariella woke up. So Ariella is right now watching the highlights of the Jets Oilers game on the couch. But that's a first. I definitely didn't think either of my kids would wake up at 12:30 in the morning, but Ariella's up, and I'm going to have to go put her to bed in about 10 minutes.
Yeah, if you need to deal with that there, Big Daddy, or Compost Daddy, as the case may be, you can feel free to jump off and do that. I don't think any of us will fault you for running out and putting your young child back to bed at 12:30 in the morning. So yeah, that's fine. And we'll leave that decision up to you. Some really interesting comments.
Sticking around.
From Adam Lowry on Connor Hellebuyck. So first game, the first time Connor Hellebuyck opened the season with a shutout tonight, 6-0. Here's what Lowry had to say on Connor Hellebuyck, courtesy of our friend Murat Atesh of The Athletic. He's in Edmonton. I'm sure he'll have a great recap of the game as well on The Athletic. Quote, he's been so incredible throughout his career for us, and we don't expect any different. But under the circumstances, I think it's extra special, and I'm glad we were able to preserve the shutout for him. As we all know, Connor Hellebuyck had been away from the Jets, missed a couple days of practice, dealing with a family matter. We don't know the specifics, and we're not about to speculate on those.
Doesn't matter.
Clearly, it doesn't matter. A family matter is a family matter. Clearly, it's something that is the team is fully aware of, and the players were there to support their goalie when he has supported them so often through the years, being the backbone of this Winnipeg Jets franchise and really the backbone of the team's success. As Hellebuyck goes, so does the team. So I'm sure the players were thrilled to have the opportunity to be able to support him, given what the circumstances and everything going on.
Yeah, and you do wonder if that played a role in maybe why guys were 5-0 and jumping in front of shots to preserve the shutout for him. But regardless of the reason, or if it's because they just wanted to maintain good habits and completely play a 60-minute game as opposed to taking their foot off the gas. And look, it was funny at one point in the broadcast, they made some comment about, well, we'll see what the Oilers can do. I'm like, game's 6-0. The Oilers aren't going to do anything at this point. And if they all, or no, it wasn't that what they could do. It was something to the effect of, well, we'll see if the Oilers can bring the momentum, because the Jets, they seem to have the puck now. It's like, well, the Jets are now not nearly trying to do what they were doing, but they're still trying to maintain the structure. So that to me, boys, was what I like to see from the team, was that they didn't get away from it. They didn't allow the Oilers to have 7, 8, odd man rushes at the end of the game. They didn't break down. And because of it, Connor Hellebuck, and I'm sure it means something to him, right? I mean, I'm sure it isn't lost on him the way the team played for him and that they played for each other. And again, this is a team that, in my estimation, as someone who is around the team on a daily basis and watches what goes on, I think they're very fine having nobody have any belief in them. I think they're very fine.
Well, so you talk about that. Sorry for interrupting. Here's Connor Hellebuck on the Oilers tonight, on shutting out the Oilers, because talk about that belief and expectations and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Quote, they got a lot of expectations over there. Expectation can kill you if you don't know how to handle it. We came in with our mindset that we're going to stick to our game plan, and I think we executed it perfectly. So, I don't want to make a mountain out of a molehill here, but there's a little bit of spice to that comment from Connor Hellebuck, especially because I think he's talking about what you're saying, that everyone's expecting the Jets to regress.
Yeah.
Everyone's saying the Jets aren't going to match what they did last year.
Yeah.
One game only, so we're going to put that asterisk next to it. But that certainly they know in that dressing room that nobody is really buying that they're going to perform like they did last year, Ezzy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, and the comments are backing Dave up here. And to Dave's point, I'm going to, play the role of Drew here and ask you guys a question. How many high danger chances did the Oilers have in that third period at even strength?
In that third period? I mean, maybe was it 1 or 2?
It was 1, and the Jets had none, by the way. But I mean, it didn't matter at that point. They were up 5-0, 6-0. But I mean, look, Hellebuck made some good saves, and we talked about it. Like Draisaitl had the good one-time chance. Obviously, he took the penalty in the third period after he fell down. He tripped. It was Kupari, right?
After he tripped himself, he decided to trip Rasmus
That
Kupari.
was the Oilers' night in a nutshell. Leon Draisaitl in the high slot and just face planting over nothing.
And look, games happen like that. Like I seriously think if the Jets and the Oilers play a 7-game series, it's most likely going to 6 or 7 games, right? Like I don't think the Jets are going to repeat this every time they play the Oilers, guys. But I mean, the point is, when Dave talks about you're up 5-0 after a couple periods. And what do? You add a power play goal, but you also stay within your structure, you stay within your identity, and you don't give the Oilers anything. Like the Oilers were emotionless in that third period. Like they just couldn't get anything going. And shots were to the outside, but the Jets were just letting Connor Hellebuck see the puck and, doing their best job to make sure that, he got that shutout after, a really solid effort. So I think there's a lot to like about this first game. And I mean, we're going to be talking about it, and, the Jets are going to be on a high here, but they've got Chicago coming in. We know Chicago's improved, and obviously the Jets are going to be the favorite in their home opener. I mean, I'm picking the Jets to win that game. But it's not like the Jets are going to rest on their laurels here and say, oh, we beat Edmonton 6-0 in the first game. We can just coast through the next 81 games. But it's definitely a good start, and that's what you like to see if you're a Jets fan.
Last word on the post-game show goes to Connor Hellebuck. Quote, it's been a crazy week. It's been tough on the whole family, but the boys played great for me, and they've been really supportive this entire time. I really cherish these moments, and I cherish my time with family, so hope they are doing all right. Connor Hellebuck, the shutout, the Jets, the victory. Kyle Connor writes his name in the NHL record books. All systems go for the Winnipeg Jets tonight. Victorious 6-0 in Edmonton to open the 24-25 season. They look to make it 2 wins in a row on Friday night, the home opener against Connor Bedard and the Chicago Blackhawks. That was going to necessitate a post-game show right around the 9:40, 9:45 mark on Friday night, and we certainly hope you will be back to join us for that. If you haven't already done so, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the podcast, and leave us feedback here, there, and everywhere. One final programming note for this upcoming weekend. The Saturday show is being moved to Sunday. So you start your Saturdays at 9 a.m., 50 or so weeks a year. This week, 1 week only, Sunday at 9 a.m. for the Illegal Curve Hockey Show. We'll recap Friday's game against the Blackhawks, and we'll get you set for Sunday afternoon's game or early evening Sunday, depending on your perspective of 5 o'clock. Against the Minnesota Wild. So mark it on your calendars, Sunday at 9, not Saturday, but of course we still got the post-game show coming up on Friday
Sandy
night.
Koufax show, right, boys?
That's right. We can't work on Yom Kippur. That's exactly right, Ezzy. So it's the Sandy Koufax show. Big thanks to all of our sponsors, our friends at Play Now. Of course, you should learn to bet with Play Now, the official betting partner of the Winnipeg Jets. Sign up and get up to $250 in bonus bets. Conditions apply. 18 plus. Please enjoy responsibly. Big thanks to all the staff and everyone here at Boston Pizza, Taylor Avenue, for joining us live on location. The Illegal Curve watch party, the Illegal Curve post-game show. Always great to be back at Boston Pizza for another year. Our friends at Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club, Holt Dental, City Place, and Seagram's. They're longtime supporters of the Illegal Curve brand, and we appreciate them and hope that you appreciate them as well. Great night for those who cheer for the Winnipeg Jets, a 6-0 victory in Edmonton. Big thanks to all of you for joining us who are here at Boston Pizza. Give us a cheer, guys. Here, make some noise. Come on. Thank you.
Wait, Drew, do you want me to do a Manuk Moose Minute?
No, not tonight. You can do a Manuk Moose Minute on Friday.
I don't know. Do we want a Manuk Moose Minute?
No,
everyone?
It's approaching 12:45 in the morning.
Only because Ezzy's got to get his daughter to bed.
Right.
Otherwise,
get Ariel back to bed. We're going to be back. Thanks to everyone who joined us on.
We'll do a Manuk Minute on Friday, Dave.
There you go. All of our social media channels for joining us here tonight. Big thanks to all of you. We'll be back Friday at 9:45 for the Illegal Curve post-game show. Until then, for Dave Manuk, for Ezra Ginsburg, I'm your host, Drew Mandel. We wish you good night and good luck, and thanks for watching the Illegal Curve post-game show.